I got started in MMA when I was about 19. I had wrestled all through high school. I was captain of my varsity wrestling team, and after I graduated, I started picking up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I trained with the gi mostly, but then I met an instructor who was a mixed martial arts fighter at the time, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, I need to do this. So I took the gi off and started training MMA. I had my first fight when I was 21. Won that one. I've had 11 fights so far, 8 amateur and 3 pro, and won all of those too. So, favorite strike, you know, I've only been training as a striker for so long, so I can't really say which one is my favorite. I think I'm partial to elbow strikes, especially on the ground. Favorite submission, I like a lot of head and arm submissions, especially coming from a wrestling background. The head and arm submissions just make the most sense to me, and they're the ones I tend to pick up on the most because they're very similar positions to what we used to experience in wrestling. So I would say probably those. You know, I mean, when I first started, it was Randy Couture, which is one of the reasons what drove me to come out to this gym, Extreme Couture. And Randy's still a huge motivator. I mean, that guy accomplished great things in the sport at a very advanced age. You know, so he's definitely one of the guys that I look up to. You know, there's a few other guys that I definitely look up to as the kind of fighters that I would like to emulate as far as specific skills or things like that. George St. Pierre would be a big one too. I think he's just an amazing and phenomenal athlete. Benson Henderson, Anthony Pettis. I tend to look up to guys in my weight class, but I also look at them as potential opponents too. So I look at them and I see, okay, that's how good he is. I got to be that good if I want to be on that level. So. My regular coaches, I still work boxing with Ron Frazier, even though he doesn't train at this gym anymore. I still train with Dennis Davis in submission grappling, as well as Eric Nixick. We recently added Robert Fallis to our coaching staff, and I've been trying to train with him more and more frequently. And then I also get some work in with some of the other coaches here and there, Kui Gonzalez, Tim Lane. I try to get as much knowledge as I can from different coaches. My main guys would be Ron, Dennis, and Eric. At this point in my career, I can pretty much do it all. I still prefer to take things to the ground. Just I'm a wrestler, and that's just always going to be my bread and butter. But I'm comfortable enough standing and fighting on the feet and fighting on the ground, top or bottom. I mean, I've won fights in almost every position you could possibly think of, so I mean, it really makes no difference to me. I don't really put too much thought into what it means to me to be a fighter. I mean, I'm a competitor. That's how I look at it. I love to compete, and it doesn't matter if it's fighting or if it's a game of checkers. I just love to compete. I love to win. I hate to lose, and it doesn't matter if I lose a fight or I'm losing a checkers. I'm probably flipping a table over afterwards. So. I think my knowledge as a strength and conditioning coach is what separates me from a lot of fighters, because I know how to train, not only how to train the right way, but I know how to train smart and still be able to keep that intensity high. I'm usually going into all my fights pretty much injury-free and feeling 100% healthy. I don't have to worry about my strength. I don't have to worry about being in condition to go the entire distance if need be. And I think that's one thing that I have over a lot of fighters, is just that knowledge of how to prepare myself for a fight. No, I'm still too young to be thinking about dream opponents. I mean, the dream opponent for me were whoever's holding the UFC lightweight championship right now. But you know, that's a ways away, so I don't really get to pick and choose. I get a name, I get a date and a location. I just go in there and handle business. Again, not something I put too much thought into is what I want my legacy to be like. You know, I probably want the same legacy that I had when I had my reputation in high school as a wrestler. I was a grinder. You know, there was no one who could outwork me, no one who was as passionate or as hardworking or came in as well prepared and ready to just go in at 100%. And I think that's the kind of attitude and the kind of persona, for lack of a better term, I guess, that I want to try to portray. I want people to know that I go in there and I give 100% in everything, whether it's the training or whether it's the fight. There's never an easy fight, or there's never an easy day in training, because I want all my fights to be easy.